Hello, TankSlayer710 here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Type T-34 Tier 5 Chinese medium tank. In this review, I'm first going to do a short review of this tank's history, then I'll show some gameplay, and at the end, I'll give my rating of how it fares in the holy trinity of tanks: the speed, the armor, and the gun. So now, into the review. At the end of World War II, Russia supplied China with over 1,200 T-34s, which China then modified slightly and used for its own use. After China was taken over by Mao's communist regime, almost all the Type T-34s were sent to North Korea to fight the US and South Koreans in the Korean War. In combat, this tank was satisfactory, but it was outclassed by the US M4A3E8 Sherman and the M26 Pershing, and thus the Type T-34 was discontinued as T-34-85s were then sent to the front. In World of Tanks Blitz, this tank is almost the same as the T-34, besides the Top Gun being a 57mm, not a 75mm, and it having a commander's cupola. In battle, it plays as a good jack-of-all-trades. Now, for some gameplay. Okay, and we are in our first battle on Yamato Harbor. This is a Tier 6 game, so I don't really have the advantage. And as I was talking about the Chinese modifications to the T-34 when they took them in, they added a commander's cupola, and they switched out the 76mm gun that the Soviets had for a quick-firing 57mm gun on most of their variants. So, we're taking a pretty aggressive position around this hill. We spot a leopard, but it's kind of useless. And then I spot a Panzer Kampfwagen 3-4. And I'm a little bit worried, and then, unsurprised, so I take a pot shot at the Sentinel, and it works out. And a second one. But I kind of realize, if you look at the map, my backup is nowhere in sight, so I decided, you know what, I'm out of here. For some reason, the Sentinel decided not to shoot me, and I realized my biggest threat is the 3-4. So, I'm 3-4. I'm not making the most perfect shots here, but he messes up a shot or two as well, so. I'm almost away, but the team is collapsing just incredibly fast around me, and there's just almost no chance. I think I'm gonna get out of here, because the moment I kill him, KV-1S comes up, and I said, you know what, maybe I can outrun its gun. Like, go sideways, try to full reverse, and then full forward to try to outrun its turret traverse. But it's way too late at that point. My team has just collapsed, and it's all over. So, now to round 2. Okay, and now we're back on Castilla. So my Type T-34, and this time I have a platoon of another one of my friends. CC Sift is his YouTube channel, also inside of a Type T-34. So we decided to go flank around near to where the sort of castle-y thing is. And it seems to be working out so far. We have a Leopard who's sort of taking point for us. And then a couple tanks. Actually, our whole team is just going this way. So, first thing, we run into a Leopard. I actually hit that shot, which is kind of surprising. That Leopard decides to focus our other Leopard. Also, that 170 damage thing there was an incredibly high roll. So, that Leopard just gets taken out super fast. And then I realize, oh, shoot, it's an M4 and a Leopard, another Type T-34. So, I decided to do something I've never ever done I don't do in most medium tanks. I decided, you know what, I'm going to reverse side scrape off this house. And let's see how well this turns out. So, take one shot from the Sherman, and it's good. And I'm actually bouncing a half-decent amount of shells. I bounced another shell from the Leopard, bounced a shell from the Sherman. So I wouldn't really advise this for normal battle strategy, but I guess it actually works, just reverse side scraping. Because the turret is placed so far forward that it's possible to effectively reverse side scrape. Now there's a duck, but he doesn't really worry me that much, because his gun, even though it's a 75mm, does damage, doesn't have the greatest amount of penetration. Okay, so the duck is still there, but he's not focusing on me at all, so I decided to try to put some shells through the drive wheel around the body. First one misses. And this time my platoon mate is now putting fire into his back. He's climbed over the hill. And the duck gets knocked out by a Panzer IV. So now it's just a Leopard left on this flank. There's no way the Leopard's going to beat us. We got a Chaffee rushing him. My platoon mate's going for him. A Leopard going for him. And it's kind of over for this Leopard. So, my platoon mate gets the kill. And actually we all have one kill right now. I was hoping that all of us would get one kill, but I don't think it really turned out that way. So now they have 3 and a KV-1 left. So, this kind of shows off the tank's mobility. It's a pretty fast tank. It's, I was about to say, comparable with the T-34, but that's not very surprising, as it kind of is the T-34, so. It was just a couple very small modifications. Yeah, so we're continuing to try to go hunt them down, and we still can't find them. We're passing through their spawn and up around the hill. That was a JU-87 that decided to do some low flying past that. I just look at my ping right now, but it stabilizes out, so I'm okay. And yeah, nothing really much is happening at the moment right now. We got Chaffee going that way. We still haven't found them, even though they're pretty slow tanks, so I thought we'd catch up to them by now. But they've already passed through our spawn, and I think they're trying to get across the bridges on the left-hand side of the map. Anyway, I get pretty hindered by that hill, so I'm pretty behind most of the team. And then our Leopard rounds the corner, but we still haven't spotted them yet for some reason. So at this point, I'm just half thinking of, you know what, I'm just going to try to go up on that ridge to my left and see if I can try to get up there to give some supporting fire. But then I decide, you know what, if we're already capping, let's just either finish up the cap or let's just kill these guys. So finally we spot one of them, and I'm assuming it's the KV-1. Oh, it's the Churchill 3, never mind. And then the KV-1 gets spotted as well. So we have team members on both sides. We have Chaffee and the Leopard and one other tank shooting from the top, and then me, my platoon mate, and everyone else shooting from over here. So because of how thick the Churchill 3's armor, I decided to just load up APCR, skill rounds for the win, and keep shooting the Churchill 3. He gets knocked out. I was thinking about loading AP there for a second at the KV-1, and I realized how thick that thing's armor is, so I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to load up the APCR anyway, because I'm not taking any chances here. So, I would try to get a kill on the KV-1, but it's too late at that point. We almost all got one kill. So, as you can see, I did second best on the team, and I got some half-decent awards. I also finished one of my missions, which is nice. This kind of shows how effective this thing is in the right hand. Anyway, now it's round 3. Okay, so I'm in my final battle on Mirage, which is again a tier 6 game, so don't really have the advantage here, but I still think I'll do okay. And the game starts off pretty interestingly. KV-1 asks what button shoots. So I'm thinking about replying, and then my platoon mate replies, the best answer ever, the shoot one. And then one of my teammates decides Alt F4, left click, which is what I really wish our their KV-1S had decided to do. Alt F4 to shoot. Good memes. Whatever. That's not the point. So, me and my platoon mate, most of our team is flanking around, but both of our heavies are heading towards the waterfall on the pond. And we don't think we're gonna encounter that heavy opposition because they've already spotted people, including one of the light tanks on their team, so chances are they went all out that way. And turns out we were right, they did go all out that way, so our VK starts taking damage, and then they do start putting it back into the enemy. We have to try to, and then our Churchill starts asking for help, so we have to try to turn around and head back to support them as soon as possible. Okay, so then they have a KV-2 now, which is being pretty oblivious, so me and my platoon mate start opening fire into the back of him. He starts sort of deciding to turn his turret, and then he's like, you know what, this is not worth it, so he gets out of there. Then a Leopard decides to rush us, and completely focus fires my platoon mate, which is totally fine for me, because now he's on the reload, and our VK just knocks him out in one shot. So, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go up and crest the ridge, try to get some damage in over there, because our Churchill 7 is about to die, and to see if I can try to support him a little bit. I'm still a little bit worried about that KV-2, but me and my platoon decided to focus their Type T-34. And then I killed her. Oh, yeah. And their Chaffee is down. They have a Jagdpanzer 4, and then they have an SU-100. So I reverse, and then my platoon mate takes a full damage hit. So now he's on 19 health. And so their SU-100 is retreating because he's still reloading his gun. I'm putting a couple more shots into him. And then my platoon mate finishes him off. So then we have the KV-1S left, a Jagdpanzer 4, and a Type T-34. And then a KV-2 decides to use its 152mm howitzer to shave off 19 health off of my platoon mate. Because, you know, priorities, right? And so then their KV-1S still has the 122mm gun, so he's still pretty dangerous. but this game is kind of in the bag at this point. I decided to go for their KV-1S first, and because I'm assuming his turret traverse is slow enough that I could go around him, and he's also trying to focus our VK. So that worked out pretty well because this thing's rate of fire on the 57mm gun is really powerful. And now they just have the Panzer IV left, which is probably not a very bad tank, but after they nerfed the traverse, it's just not as effective anymore. Even though it does almost get the front turned around to me, but it's too late for it at this point. And I get the kill. Cool. So that's the end of that battle. That was a pretty successful battle for me, overall. And yeah, so I got a second class mastery badge, got a Confederate medal, got a half decent amount of XP and credits. I didn't have my ×2 booster on. And I did best on the team. So, let's go to the conclusion. In conclusion, this tank is a good jack of all trades on the battlefield. So now I'll rate how it is in the holy trinity of tanks. For speed, I gave it a 7 out of 10. And this is because it's pretty fast for a medium tank, even though it's not as fast as like the Chaffee or the Leopard. It's faster than other medium tanks such as the Panzer IV. For armor, I gave it a 5 out of 10, because its armor can't really reliably bounce anything unless you angle heavily or, as I showed, reverse-sidescrape because of its frontal turret. And finally, for its gun, I gave it a 6 out of 10. As I used the rapid-fire 57mm gun, it can do a lot of damage per minute, even though it only does like 100 damage per shot. With like a 5-second reload, that adds up pretty fast, and you can actually tear apart other tanks, especially when they don't notice you because you do so little damage per shot. That's all for this review on the Type T-34. Thank you for watching. Until next time.